Hello, welcome to Nexus Priority. So today we are going to be considering a very wonderful topic. We've been doing this series on off-plan properties, and previously we did video on benefits of off-plan properties, or more like the advantage of off-plan properties. But today we are going to be considering the risk factors, the disadvantage of investing in off-plan properties. What are the things you need to also like consider or look out for before you take any investment decision in off-plan properties? So that's what we're going to be considering today. And if you are new to our channel, welcome. If you've been watching our channel before and you're yet to subscribe, and if you're new and you're yet to subscribe to, kindly subscribe now, and also turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of our updates as we drop these updates for you. So let's dive right into it. Today we are going to be talking about the risk factors of investing in off-plan properties. Those things that you need to consider, those things that you need to mitigate, check very well before you invest in an off-plan property. So, and these factors are more like the hindrance to getting quality delivery of service on any off-plan project, and also getting your value for money. So the first thing we're going to be talking about today is the delay in construction timeline. As much as there are lots of advantages or lots of benefits of investing in off-plan properties or real estate in general, you need to consider this particularly. And before you even consider these things, you need to check the location of the property in which you want to invest in. Location is very, very germane to any investment in real estate, be it just land or be it off-plan properties or anyone in particular. So we are talking about the delay in construction timeline. So one of the most significant risk with off-plan properties is actually the delay in the construction timeline. At times, many a times, developers will tell you, this project is going to be delivered in 12 months, it's going to be delivered in so amount of period, or maybe 18 months or thereabouts. But in so many occasions or so many instances, this may not be the case, and it's due to certain factors. It could be based on government policies, like them getting approval, layout plans approval and things like that. And also it can even be financial constraints, and that brings me to the next issue in line, which is the financial challenges. So many developers do not even have the funds to see the project from inception to the conclusion. So at times what they do is to wait to get money from investors, or clients who would want to invest on that property. So it is those funds they would use to actually start the project and also complete it. But one thing I would advise is always best to consider the developers before you make any investment. Check the track record. What have they done before in the industry? What even the previous projects that they've done. How is the project? What was the timeline in which they started to the point of delivery, to the point of conclusion, and then delivery to the investors who have purchased such off-plan properties? So, and these are certain factors you need to consider. And in terms of even the financial challenges, it has a lot of impact on the pricing of the off-plan project, because at times these developers would go to financial institutions to get loans at exorbitant rates. So definitely they would want to make profits, definitely. So they would increase or jack up the price in a way, because they're going to factor in inflation and so many other stuffs. So you need to look out for all this in a developer. In fact, most of these are really centered on a developer before you consider investing in your properties. And also, one thing you should also notice, apart from the financial challenge on the side of a developer, as a client or an investor, at times I've seen situations whereby some clients who want to buy an off-plan property, and they would probably have the initial deposit and some make some payments, but may not be able to finish up with payment due to financial constraint or such. There are ways around these things, that investors can also seek mortgage options to secure such properties, which will give them a longer time to make up the payment regardless of challenges. So now another thing we're going to consider is, this is like the third factor, is the unit size of an apartment or a building in particular. So now there are times whereby, from the layout design or from the 3D designs that are going to be shown to investors at times, you could see the size of the rooms of the building itself. But in reality, when these projects are delivered, we at times we discover that what was shown on paper is quite different from what is seen in reality. So these are things that you would need to check before you invest in an off-plan property. And how do you do so? You consider developer. Like I said, the track record matters a lot. What projects have they done in the past? How did they construct this? How did they deliver on their promises as regards the project, as regards the timeline and things like that? Like I said in the initial point I made about the project delivery or the construction delay, at times they may not be able to fulfill their timelines that they give, maybe 12 months or 18 months or 16 months or 20 or 24 months at times. So because there are so many challenges along the way that they might face, like I mentioned, financial constraint and things like that. So this at times, due to the fact that they want to cut costs, or they would probably reduce some allotted space that they've indicated in their plans. So some developers who do such things, you need to note them and find a way to avoid such, so that it won't affect the value of your own property which you're buying or which you're investing in. Because definitely real estate in itself is space, because the amount you would buy a 3-bedroom apartment, which is quite massive, might be different from the amount you buy a 3-bedroom apartment that is quite small. So these are things that also there are also like risk factors that you need to like check first before you invest in an off-plan property. And at times there are some certain factors like features and fittings that are meant to be installed in a particular project, that the developer will have made promises, or the development company will have made promises that we'll do this, we'll do that, but at the end of the day you might not see it. For instance, it's very common in Nigeria whereby you would see a developer promise that, oh, we're going to put an elevator in this particular block of flats. Probably the building is like 5 stories, and for there to be easy commuting in the building, the elevator would really help a lot, especially when you're at the top floor, to get to your own apartment. But imagine after the project has been constructed, just because maybe they had one financial constraint or the other, and they wanted to like cut costs, they might take out the whole elevator plan from the building, and this in turn would affect the accessibility to that particular floor of the building, and definitely to impact the value of the property. So as an investor or as a client, or who is looking to buy an apartment or an off-plan project whereby you want to live in, you need to consider all these factors. Invest with good developers that keep up with whatever they promise to do. That is a very, very important criteria that one must actually consider before making any investment in off-plan projects. So the fifth point we're going to talk about today is the construction and finishing defects. Now, this at times is very common, and in some instances you'd hardly even notice them. Like I mentioned in the previous video that I did on the advantages of off-plan properties, and in that video I specifically talked about the defect liability period, whereby um, if it's in the agreement, when a client moves into a newly built apartment, at times there could be an agreement between the buyer and the seller that, okay, for this particular duration of maybe 3 to 6 months, any defect that is noticed in the building, the developer should what bear the cost of such defect. So at times these agreements could be made, and at times the reverse may be the case. So at times in some off-plan projects, defects are seldomly seen, and there are instances whereby they are very frequent in off-plan projects. So one needs to check the developer, what quality of service are they rendering, what quality of delivery in the quality of their buildings are they giving to people. Because at times you could see cases of some houses collapsing and things like that. You want to guide against that, and you need to look for the right property developers who will not cut costs or cut corners, because at times when you try to take shortcuts, it might be cut short. So you need to be careful in looking at developers who actually give good quality in their building constructions, so that the crises like collapse and other things that would even affect the value of property will be mitigated at the very early stage, before you even make that decision of what investing in such property. Now, one other thing we are going to consider is the lack of immediate rental income. So basically, on off-plan projects, if you are an investor who is looking to get quick cash flow from an investment, then you need to think very critically before you invest in an off-plan project. Most off-plan projects used to have a timeline of 12, 16, 18 and 24 months before the projects are being concluded. And if you're the type that you want to invest now and you're expecting to get quick cash on the property, it will take a while, because the project has to be completed. So for that duration whereby the project is being constructed, even if you're finished paying all the money for the off-plan project you're buying, you still need to wait for it to be completed before you can start getting rental income flow from such a property. So, and like off-plan properties generally, there are so many uses in which you can put it into. You can buy living, or you can buy for investment purpose, whereby you can get economic rent from such properties by doing it for yearly rentals, short lets, or maybe even long-term leases, or you can even get Airbnb type of off-plan property. So these are various criteria that one needs to consider before making investments in off-plan projects, and they are very, very important. And with off-plan projects, one thing you need to also note, which is like the final point on this, is there is limited room for negotiation on off-plan projects. Why do I say this? Now, consider when you want to buy an already built or an already constructed building, definitely you're going to see that you can still make some kind of bargains. Oh, if the project is for 100 million, you can still negotiate. That can be the asking price. But for off-plan projects, usually it is the prices are always below the market value at the inception stage, because one, the developers are looking for investors. Two, the project is not even constructed yet. So at that particular point in time, you can't give the value of a physical building which has been constructed to a building which is still at the substructure stage of foundation. So those are the things that occur at off-plan. So whatever price the developer is giving, it is below the market value. So it's very, very hard to get a negotiable price at that instance compared to an already built building. So these are one of the risks that you face with off-plan projects investment. So in conclusion, I'd like to say that it is imperative to conduct thorough and adequate due diligence. Very, very important. Thorough and adequate due diligence on any real estate investment you want to make, and work with professionals. Like, get realtors that are trustworthy, that would help you make adequate research, that would give you data analysis on the risk factors, on the benefits that you can get from these particular properties. So these are things you need to really consider. They are very, very important, very, very critical before you make any purchase. Because after you consider all these factors of the benefits, the risk, that would help you to make an informed decision on that investment, so that you don't fall prey to bad investments. And this is very, very important. So we've come to the end of this particular topic of risk in off-plan properties. If you haven't watched the advantages or the benefits of off-plan properties, I'll be adding a link of that video in the description of this video, so you can just go there and check, or you can just go to our channel and check on our videos. You see a plethora of works that we have done there that you can really go through and make an informed decision on any property you want to invest in. My name is Matthew Oshatu once again, and thank you for watching. Remain blessed. Bye for now.